Alright, I am back with an Outriders video. Didn't expect to be saying that anytime soon, and yet we finally have information about the Worldslayer expansion for Outriders, something that was teased a long time ago, but was just announced by the time I am publishing this video. People Can Fly have a big kind of reveal stream thing going on, but I have already played it, as you might be able to see in the footage here. I was invited to a preview event a few weeks back, a virtual one, so disclaimer here, this was like me playing in the cloud or whatever, however they do it, but it was a little rough. Like, I've done this a few times for events, but normally it's been pretty good. Like, I did this for Guardians of the Galaxy. This was a little choppy. I had a lot of trouble with kind of input lag, and on my end at least, things were getting like really pixelated to the point where I could barely see. So if you see me like doing very stupid things, it is probably not just because I'm bad. It might be because of that too. But fortunately, the footage they recorded on their end looks clean, so that is where we're at here. This is a real expansion, quote unquote. That's about the best way I can describe it. They are once again kind of following the path of Diablo, where they are doing a sizable paid expansion as opposed to the new live servicey stuff of seasons and whatever. They did pretty much like one minor update where they added a few new expeditions that they just wanted to like get out before launch and they just never got to them. This is a real expansion, and it is definitely, you know, I don't know the full kind of like volume of size, but it adds pretty much everything you would expect from a new expansion minus one thing. Oh, and I don't know the price yet, but I don't know, 20, 30 bucks, who knows, something like that. If it's 40, I'd be a little surprised, but we'll see. The one thing that this does not have is a new class. Previously, when they were talking about an expansion, they kind of mentioned like at least the possibility of new classes, and I actually asked them about this. And it's pretty much the Borderlands answer, where they feel like people are kind of just committed to their characters at this point and have invested so much in them that it is better resource-wise and like investment-wise to just kind of bolster the existing classes rather than make entirely new classes. We saw this in Borderlands 3. We've seen this in Destiny, where Destiny has never made a fourth class in its entire lifespan. And this is kind of where it breaks from Diablo, because Diablo expansions would always bring at least one new playable class. But here, what they did instead was, so they're not raising the level cap. You are not getting more skill points to put in the existing trees. I also asked them about that, and they said that because everyone would just kind of do the same thing, and that wasn't really helping builds at all. So what they did instead was they built out new trees called Pax Trees that are entirely separate screens. You'll see one in this video at some point where it's like a new tree with essentially two branching paths for each class, and they will give you new abilities, new buffs and boosts and things like that. Like similar to the other tree, it's just separate from the other tree. And yes, you can respec these at any time. Unlike the other tree, you are not getting points for this through leveling. You are getting points for it for playing the Worldslayer campaign. I'm not sure what the ultimate cap is on points here, but my guess is like if you get through the campaign and maybe some of the new endgame activity, then you will get all the points that you can get for that, and then adjust your build accordingly. I played Devastator for this because Devastator is my favorite class. Every time I pick Devastator for one of these tests, they're like, no one ever picks Devastator. And oh, this is, unlike the last time I did one of these, this is not my actual Devastator from the PS version of the game. This is just a random one they gave me, so I don't have any like really cool synergies or anything. Another new stat thing they added is a Ascension System, which is essentially just a Paragon, Badass ranks, Guardian ranks system, where you can keep leveling after you hit the cap, and you get little stat point boosts as you do so. This is not unusual for this genre. Pretty much every game in this genre has some version of this to some extent. Avengers got this eventually. Destiny doesn't really have a version like this. I guess they have like temporary power grinding, but that sucks. This one is unique because usually when you see a system like this, you are forced to put in like 1 point in like one section, and then like you'll have like another option of points you can put in. This one you can just put in points wherever you want. So if you want to put in like 20 points to poison damage or bleed damage or weapon leech or something like immediately as like your first thing to like really help your build, you can do that as opposed to just like kind of scattering them all around. So that's pretty good. I think that's a good system. and you don't see that too often with systems like these. Over the course of my play here, I got, I don't know, I think 3 or 4 points just from playing for an hour or something, and that's obviously the levels will take more time to level up over time, but this will go kind of quickly at first here, it seems. In terms of the actual gameplay, there's a lot of new enemies that are in this new zone, which is kind of an ice-based zone. I thought one of the cool things they did was when it starts, you see like the birds and stuff freezing, and like, I don't know, it's something with the anomaly. Like the anomaly's getting worse. It's making everything cold, so cold even the native things in the planet are freezing over. In terms of new enemies, there's like new normal enemies, but also there's like new boss types. I fought a giant polar bear thing, as you can see here, which comes back later, and then I fought at the end a giant guy with like machetes or something. I don't know. He's like a new type of human enemy that was terrifying. That was a really hard battle because my desync was very bad at that point, but we did beat him without wiping, so that was good. I haven't seen the full range of these enemies. The new ultimate enemy is some woman who's like an altered who has a name I don't remember or pronounce, but I did not see her in my play here. I think that's later on. And if you want to start this campaign, there will be boosts up to level 30 where you can just boost any character to level 30 and hop in immediately, so you don't have to like grind through the entire other campaign to get to that point, which I think at this point is a good thing. Even if there's no classes, they did do a lot with loot rewards. There are 2 new legendary sets for each class. There are new 3-piece legendary sets that are hopefully not bad, like the Cannonball set. And there are a lot of new legendary weapons. I did not get or see any of those. I mean, I've seen like photos of them, but I don't know what they actually are yet. They haven't really shown us that kind of stuff yet. And this build, like, I have pretty much trash gear in this playthrough. They didn't like kit me out in like one of the new things or anything, so I have not actually experienced that yet. One significant change is what they're doing with loot and difficulty level. So they now have something called Apocalypse levels, Apocalypse tiers, something like that. It's the Diablo Inferno system, essentially, with a twist. So as you go through higher and higher tiers, I think it goes to tier 40, if I'm remembering that right. You will obviously encounter harder enemies and things like that, and you get more XP and more loot, better drop rates, things like that. This is replacing the other systems entirely, the challenge tiers and whatever they were called. This applies to like all areas of the game. So you can play the story campaign on this, you can play expeditions on this, you can play the new endgame thing on this, and this is kind of one unifying difficulty thing, because I think it was very confusing before, if you ask me. Here the twist is that there is now Apocalypse gear, which reminds me of what Wonderlands is doing with the chaotic and volatile gear. Apocalypse gear is like a special drop of either a purple or a legendary, where if it is Apocalypse gear, it has a 3rd mod slot with a fixed perk. So the way it was explained to me is the higher you go, like an ultimate high Apocalypse tiers, you have a better chance of that 3rd mod being legendary, or tier 3. So you could have theoretically armor or weapons with 3 tier 3 legendaries, whether it's the tier 3 legendary that you want or that you care about. Like, that's part of the farm. They're not going to let you replace more than 1 slot on your 3 slot gear, so there is still going to be some matter of kind of farming for the exact right type of Apocalypse gear to kind of synergize with your build. And I don't know, we'll see what the rates are in that, but in this early playthrough, I was already getting a couple pieces of Apocalypse gear just through like normal purple gear, just kind of the base story campaign stuff. So that was not even like really like hyper farming, and yet I was already seeing it drop. I don't remember what Apocalypse tier we were on, one of the low ones, but so that seems to be kind of an interesting new dynamic to farming, in addition to actually just trying to get the new stuff. So getting a full build with a full extra legendary or tier 2 perk that's good on every piece of gear is kind of nuts. So we will see what kind of crazy builds people come up with for that. Past that, there is a new endgame activity called the Trial of something that, I don't know, some alien sounding name. Yara Bargar, I don't know, something. They did not show us what this was. They did not talk about this. They only said that it is different than an expedition. I don't think they're keeping it a secret. I think they're probably just going to do like a separate presentation on this later, because this expansion does not come out for 2 months. So it comes out at the end of June. So this preview is pretty early, so I would imagine sometime in the next 2 months here we will learn more about it. We will probably get some gear showcases, things like that, to kind of more fully flesh it out. And I think those are kind of all the major points. Like if you can ask me, like, did you have fun? Like, yeah, but I wasn't really experiencing the full potential of it here. Like, I was only really doing like the first couple of campaign sections, did not have an optimal build, was not seeing a ton of new gear drop. But I could look at the trees and like play around with the Paragon system a little bit, and at least see a couple pieces of chaotic gear. All of these changes sound really good to me. I kind of understand not having the resources to do a fully new class, as much of a bummer as that may be, but I get where they're coming from. I really like Outriders. I know that it had a very rough start from a technical perspective, but it is one game that I have always said has gotten the looter fundamentals down at its base, like really, really well, at a level, like, that's the problem with Avengers. Like, Avengers can be fun to play with the combat kit, but like, it never really understood how to be a looter, still doesn't, and Outriders does understand it because they are more or less just copying everything Diablo does. And that's good. That's a great thing to do because Diablo is awesome, and all of these concepts work really well in Outriders. I have no idea what the concept or what the future of Outriders holds as a concept because, I mean, the player base is like nothing at this point. Like, it's really low at this point. Like, Outriders is, it sold pretty well. It did pretty well on Steam initially, but it's, player count is nothing now. I don't think this is going to be like its Taken King moment. Like, from what I can tell, this expansion is going to be good, but will it be, propelling Outriders into the stratosphere of, like, getting all these new players? Like, I doubt it. I really doubt it. But I think it'll be fun. I think if you like Outriders, this seems like a good addition, and that all the changes they are making are positive. So I'm excited to play it. There's not really tons of stuff coming out this summer. I assume by June 30th, I will still be on my first Elden Ring playthrough, given how that's going. I'm going to make a separate video about how my Elden Ring playthrough is going so far. I'm playing in like these little 10-minute chunks in between work and parenting duties, so that's been interesting. But yeah, great game, a lot of fun. We'll talk more about that later. But anyway, this will be one of 2 videos today. I have to do a massive read-through of the TWAB. That is this novel-sized weapon sandbox thing they're doing, which who knows how that's going to go. That's going to be something else. So that is, what time I'm recording this, about an hour and a half from now, so we'll see. And I think the embargo is at 12:30, so the TWAB will be half an hour after that. I assume it'll take me like 45 minutes to read through or something, so we'll see how that goes. But anyway, that is Outriders Worldslayer, and I know this isn't like the most entertaining footage, but hopefully we're going to get some more footage as time goes on and learn kind of more specifics about the loot and endgame activity. But I'm excited to play it. I really do like Outriders quite a bit. And I have 6 max level characters across 2 platforms, so yes, I have put some significant time into it, and I plan to put more in. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you later. Take care.